The whole production and the audition process was, you're doing a movie called Repetition. It's called Repetition. 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 So I always thought it was just, oh, repetition. And then finally, it's like I was about 14, almost 15. And the day that I got on the set, there was a little gathering, and they finally, I don't know if I signed something or my dad or something like that, but it was like, no, this is a Friday the 13th movie. And I was like, oh my God!
Make some noise for Shavar Ross and Tiffany Helm from Friday the 13th, Part 5. We are not worthy. We are not
Oh my gosh.
Oh, yes, you are.
You guys are absolute legends. This is a huge and major moment for me, right? Thank you. You guys have been heroes of mine since I was a little kid that was obsessed with Friday the 13th movies on cable marathons and VHS. So I've always wondered, who were the heroes to you guys when you started out? Who inspired you guys to pursue acting?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to get one of those too. Okay. Who inspired me to do acting? That's a really tough one. I remember I really liked Genevieve Bouchot when I was younger. I mean, it's definitely I've matured in it. You throw me questions that I absolutely cannot answer.
Go.
I don't know. You wanna step in on this one where my brain like goes through its like freaking what? Oh, my mom. Well, duh. But I mean, I actually didn't have true appreciation for my mom's acting until recently. And she actually helps me with auditions, because now auditions are like all online. So she's my coach now. So it's really cool. And I did this Western genre class a short time ago and was talking to her about it. And she's like, I've done so many Westerns, Tiff. I'm like, yeah? I mean, I didn't have a concept of what she had done. She's got like over 500 film credits. And she's like, oh yeah, there was this one where I'm like, chasing the bad guy, I'm running on that horse, galloping, and I'm shooting at him with a rifle. I'm like, Mom! Like, what the heck? So I had to look up Man for the Hanging. And so I'm actually more impressed with my mother now.
And her name again?
What?
Her name again?
Brooke Bundy.
Yeah, that's her mom.
Oh, man.
From Nightmare on Elm Street parts. God, Shavar, what would I do without you? So anyway, Shavar.
Well, for me, I was, my parents were separated, and I was born in the South Bronx, first 7 years of my life, and my dad was the actor. And so my dad went off to Hollywood and got William Morris, top agents. He was just really into acting. He studied. And so at 7 years old, I'm like telling my mother, I want to know who my father is. Where's my father? And my mother would be like, oh, he's off in Hollywood. He's acting. I was like, I want to meet my father. Crying, 7 years old. And so she sent me during my Christmas vacation to California to visit my dad. And so my dad and one of his good friends, Lawrence Hilton Jacobs from Welcome Back, Kotter, took me to a play that starred a young Kim Fields, right around my age. I know Kim. So I was so googly-eyed of, oh my goodness, Kim Fields, oh wow. And she was doing this play. So as I'm coming out of the play, an agent, a top children's agent, goes up to my father and is like, this little child needs to do commercials. And so maybe a week or two later, I got my first commercial, Amtrak. And that's how I got started. So I never went back, stayed with my dad. And so I grew up in West Hollywood, California. So black folks, Jews, Russians, Hispanics. So for me as a child, it was like a melting pot. And so that's pretty much where I grew up. And I literally was in West Hollywood at this park called Poinsettia Park. It's a very famous park. They call it the Park of the Black Actors. actors. So I grew up with Sidney Poitier, Jim Kelly, Roger Mosley, Ron O'Neal, Superfly, and they would all get together, especially, I don't know if you remember Jim Kelly, he was a karate man, and I would see them playing tennis. Black folks playing tennis? I heard about Arthur Ashe, but to see them, and I lived right on the corner. So I grew up and was influenced by all of those people. And I've been working, well, I haven't worked lately, but for the first, I would say 20 years, I was in the business for about 20 years, almost 25 years. So.
That is incredible. West Hollywood is like my favorite place on earth. That's if I could choose anywhere to live, I would live there, hands down.
Yeah, growing up there was just amazing.
Oh man, that's so cool.
Yeah.
And again, I want to reiterate, this is your guys' panel, so as soon as I see audience hands go up for questions, I'm happy to start calling them out. I know it takes a while for the room to warm up, so I have plenty here to keep us going for now. So I've always wondered, were you guys Friday the 13th fans before doing the film? Because it was a pretty gigantic franchise by the time this film came into production. So any stories there where you have a favorite Friday film before this or after, or?
I saw, I think the first two. I know I at least saw the first one in a theater, but I haven't been a big slasher fan. I love horror, but I'm more of the dark, psychological, brooding, like wicked cinematography, Mike Flanagan, horror stuff. So, I wasn't a huge fan. And again, we didn't know that it was a Friday the 13th at first.
Right.
It was the repetition was a script, but kind of like when the thing about the hockey mask kind of like gave it away. But yeah, I was thrilled to be working on it, but it just wasn't my go-to for films.
Yeah. And for me, my buddy Corey Feldman, I did my second commercial. It was a Kodak commercial at the San Diego Zoo. So, like Tiffany said, I didn't know. I just thought it was just like some scary movie or something. But they kept the script, everything about the whole production and the audition process was, you're doing a movie called Repetition. It's called Repetition. 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 So I always thought it was just, repetition. And then finally, it's like I was about 14, almost 15. And the day that I got on the set, there was a little gathering, and they finally, I don't know if I signed something or my dad or something like that, but it was like, no, this is a Friday the 13th movie. And I was like, oh my God! Because I knew Corey, whom I did my second commercial with, he was in like the final chapter. Remember when he had the bullhead and all this, and his hair cut off, he was, but I didn't know too much about the film. I just knew that Corey was in it, because I think they may have had, was it VHS or something? Or was it even knowing?
Yeah,
no,
VHS and beta, yeah.
Okay, so, but I may have I saw our film. I think I actually went to the movies to see part 6, but don't recall ever watching any of the 11 movies in the whole franchise. So I have a lot of catching up to do. Still, after 38 years, I don't even know. People are coming up to me today and like, oh, Betsy Palmer. No, she was in one, and like educating me still. So it's just, what I love about this whole thing we're doing now, it brings all of us together. Like sports, right? It doesn't matter what your color is. There's so much division in this world. It doesn't matter what your politics are. Look at us right now. You see? This is why I'm here. This is what I love about it. So.
Well, I do want to give the audience a chance to jump in. I don't want to hog the mic too much, but I see it's still a little cold. That's okay. So one of the parts of Part 5, as I often refer to it, even though it's not officially in the title, the infamous Danny Steinman stories are fantastic. So I was wondering if you guys had any stories of working with Danny.
I'm waiting to hear from you, the infamous Danny. I'm like, what did I miss? Danny was great to work with. What I most liked about Danny, and everyone has, I mean, I think everybody, because I've heard Melanie tell some different stories too, was the autonomy that we had. I mean, this character that I went in for was written entirely different. This was, going to be Hollywood's version of what they thought punk rock was, which was Pat Benatar for I'm like, what? And being like this hard body and everything. And while I was very limited what I could go out for at that time, my agent got a little frustrated with me. That was one of the things I could go out for. It was this alternative thing. They send me in for Sid and Nancy, and I was like, yeah, but I'm nothing like Nancy. Just because I'm alternative doesn't mean I'm, like Nancy. But I created that character. Wardrobe took me out shopping, and I was picking out what I wanted. Wow. They allowed me so much room with that character. And again, I mean, whether it was desperation or whatever, because of having to rewrite that kill scene at the very last minute, which is, I think, why they went with a pillow as my stomach. I mean, it was like, what do we got? What do we props? What do we got? We have this, we have a pillow. Great, use it, get it in. They had to be quick on their feet. So I think, having the dance and everything, again, it could have been desperation, or maybe it was, I like to think of it as just that he gave us all this autonomy and room to grow our characters. I'm going with that story. I have nothing but good, feelings, memories about Danny.
That's awesome.
It was a great set. It was a professional set. I've been on a couple not so professional sets, and there's a big difference. Even though this was a low budget movie, I never felt like it was low budget. It was great. We were treated great. I was treated great. I can't speak for everybody, but those are my Danny Steinman stories. He was awesome.
Oh, that's so cool. Shavar, same.
And other than me running over the fake Jason with the tractor, Tiffany's scene is my favorite because I don't know. I just thought it was kind of genius the way that whole "there's a magical life," and she's doing this robot, and then you could see that golden shot of that sword. I mean machete. I would say sword, machete, and I thought that was just amazing how they put the music together for your scenes. So that's one of my favorite scenes.
Oh yeah. And
then with Melanie, I tease her because I remember as a kid we were up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, and to get her scream out, I screamed like a girl. in the film, they had to put the music to it, and they did something. But Melanie, we were up at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. Like I said, I tease her about this, but and the director's like, "What the heck is that? Scream!" And it was like, "Take 2, scream!" And she was like, "Ah!" And he was like, "No, that's not a scream, scream!" And we were doing it. And I was just giggling, and I was like, oh, but it started getting serious. Then finally she was able to, after 3 hours, 50 takes, and she finally was like, ah! And it was like, okay, all right, we got it. But that's my one of my memories about shooting the film.
That's great. That's awesome.
Sorry if I was too loud. I can be loud. That's why I need to stay back.
That's what I was like.
Was there a lot of studio presence on set? Was Frank Mancuso around a lot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Any stories there?
Oh yeah. Yeah. No, I remember he scared me.
Yeah.
Because Juliet and I, we were just freaking troublemakers, right? And I mean, we even hung out there. I think I went there on Halloween. They were shooting. I wasn't shooting, but I wanted to hang out with our makeup people. We would do makeup, and yeah, I was just a troublemaker. And Juliet and I, off set, would get into quite a bit more trouble. And Frank made it very clear, whatever trouble you're getting into out there, it is not permitted on this set. If I catch wind of it, you're gone. I mean, he was freaking tough. Wow. So when we saw him, I was just it's when the cops come by, it's be cool, man. Just freaking be cool.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, that's my perception. Again, it's, with age comes wisdom. Maybe, I'm still waiting for it. But, that was my vibe at the time was, he wasn't into us and some of the ways we had fun. He didn't approve of that. So very patriarchal, I guess.
Oh, if you don't mind, I was going to say the first day that I got on the set, I was 14, and I had to, go. I'm coming in the first day, and usually with young people, we have to go to school before we can start working. And so they were like, Shavar, Danny, the director, he wants to say hello to you. It's your first day. And so they took me over to Danny on the set. But I noticed a lot of yellow tape around. So I'm like, okay, where's Danny? And I'm like, what's going on? Where's the set? And it was like yellow tape. And all of a sudden, Danny, I'm waiting and stuff with my set teacher, waiting. And he comes out, I was like, hey, Shavar, welcome to the movie. All right, looking forward to working with you and all this type of stuff. After auditioning 50 million times and stuff. And I'm like, what's going on with this thing? And then when the movie comes out, I'm in the theater with Corey Feldman, Noah Hathaway from the Never Ending Story. I'll try you. We were all in the balcony and in this big, gigantic screen in Westwood, California. And I'm seeing some stuff. I'm like, oh, because of the nudity. I was like, what is going on here? Oh, that was the yellow tape, what was going on in this. Oh, another one. So it was just, at 14, 15, it's like, wow. So, of course, I was in a movie, so my dad, it wasn't like people were closing my eyes then, but that was different for 14. That was the first time I think I saw breastises.
So your friends are probably like, did you see him? And you're like, yeah, I saw him.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I was there.
I cast those breasts in this film. That was me, all me.
Now that we have the internet, everything is accessible, but back then, it's like, what?
It's funny, I thought that was actually going in a very different direction. I thought you were going to tell me that the yellow tape was that Danny had put it up to keep Frank Mancuso away. Because I had heard that they had some issues making that film. So I do want to give the audience another chance to jump in with questions. Thank you.
What was the favorite scene that you were in, that you filmed?
Favorite scene you filmed?
Okay, so this is funny. I was asked this a couple times. I think when I answered the other day, that the person was a little bummed out at my answer. But I wanted to say, everyone assumes a dance scene, which again, yes, absolutely, because I got to do my own thing. It's like that was something. While I didn't practice it for the scene, I had practiced it a lot before I came on to, that's what we did in clubs. So the first time I saw this done at a club, it was up on podium, this guy was to send me an angel, and I was instant, just in love, and oh, this dance. And I worked on it at home. So I was ready to go when they were like, we need to figure out something to make you die. And so I had that ready, and the song, I had it ready. But I think one of my favorite scenes was actually the breakfast scene. Because I think, nobody gets a lot of chance to do character development on these films. And I'm thinking of all of us in it. I think we all got to do quite a bit of character development. We all had our own thing going on. And I'm sure a few of you have seen the film a few times. If you zero in on each character and just watch them through that whole breakfast scene, you're going to see a lot of subtle choices that we make as actors. So I think, and that's where the Danny Steinman thing comes in, with the autonomy that he gave us, because he let us do that. And I've worked on sets where directors are like, no, you can't add a gasp at the end of that. No, you have, you can't. You have to say it this way. Who will practically give you line readings, and they let us go. So I want to say the breakfast scene. That's what I'm going to say. My answer. I'm sticking to it.
Oh, may I ask a question? How did you come up with the hairstyle? Was that totally from you? Because I just thought you were just the coolest.
Hell yeah.
I actually read something recently that said that you had a crush on Violet too. I was like, aww. I like you now. Shavar. Now I have a crush on Shavar. So anyway, the hairstyle, that was the first time I saw it. And again, I was doing more gothy stuff at the time. But Terry Nunn had that hairstyle before me. And in No More Words, that video came out, I saw it, I was like, I need that. And me and my friends were used to doing our hair ourselves and everything, but I'm like, I'm not screwing around with that. I'm going to pay for that. I think I might have tried it once and it just didn't work, but I actually went to a salon and had that done. So, I was seeing videos. I don't know how I got like a sneak preview of videos. So it wasn't really established yet. She wasn't like a Madonna or anything. It was playing on whatever MTV's alternative stuff was, those little preview things they did. But it was Terry Nunn who had it first from Berlin, who inspired that haircut or hairstyle, the color.
Nunn? Who's that?
What?
Who's Terry Nunn?
From Berlin, the singer to Berlin.
Oh, okay, got it. Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you.
So if I could actually piggyback on that, because I feel like if I close my eyes and I picture this movie, I picture that hairstyle, and I actually picture Shavar's red zippered sweatshirt. So I was curious, did you keep that? Tell me you have that somewhere, the little red hoodie.
Now, what about it now? I'm sorry.
Did you keep the hoodie, the red sweatshirt?
Oh, they had like 50 hoodies because of the rain scenes. So we had to go running through the fake rain and stuff. So I was in so many hoodies, different. It's like they would dry me up and put me in another whole outfit. The whole red suit is what we call it.
Right, yeah, the red suit.
And then the Converse and stuff like that. But they had a ton of those things. And sometimes they want me to get into it now. And my wife is like, just go to Walmart, find a red suit, do photo ops. I'm like, honey, come on. I'm like 52 now. It's like,
Yeah, do I want to be in red pajamas? Come on. So I do want to let the audience give them another chance to jump in if they have questions. It's okay, because I've actually wanted to ask you guys about the reveal of Roy in the film, and at what point were you guys aware of that? Was that something that you thought it was going to be Jason and it turned out to be Roy, or it was in the script, or was that like kind of secret?
I don't even know if I can answer this because I really never even connected the dots. Like, again, it's, as an actor, I just kind of like show up. Am I working today? Okay, these are my scenes. Okay, cool. And I had a very insulated view of working then. So I really wasn't, like the stuff I work on now, I am interested in the big picture and what everybody's doing and all their little subtle actions and things. And then it was just like, I'm just interested in what I'm doing. So I didn't connect those dots. I don't think I didn't have an opinion one way or another, which is really unusual for me.
And I didn't really follow the whole franchise at the time, so I just remember being in the theater, and I knew it was going to be a fake Jason, but at the end, when like he falls off the barn, and I just remember just like, it looks like a dummy. It's like a dummy. It was like he, and then you could see it looked like on the spikes. Remember when he fell? And I'm like, so what is this, a dummy? And I guess that the fun of it, I guess people know it's not real, but I thought that was just the most hilarious thing. I'm like, couldn't they have done a better job? Put some silicone or something when he fell? It just was like, whoa. And I just thought that was funny. I just thought that was hilarious.
And like
that's my only thing about Roy that I remember.
Like having a pillow for a stomach that gets stabbed.
Yeah, and isn't it true? I was going to ask one more thing because I'm a fan too. I haven't seen her in many years, and but didn't they have a different? Because I remember on the set they had like, I don't know if it was like a, speaking of dolls or what do you call it? Some sort of maybe a dummy mannequin or something. Didn't they? Wasn't there another scene or something? Some other type of death thing?
Wow, you've really you have some catching up. Yes. So for anybody who doesn't know the story, but I think probably most of you do, the photo that goes around of me with the blood all up and down my crotch, and that, like, and I'm smiling in the chair, like, hi. I always said, this is my ad for Brawny tampons.
Wow.
That was, makeup did me up for that.
Oh.
And they took me to the producers and Danny to be like, how does she look? Is she ready? Because I was going to be in my room doing my exercises with my legs in the air, and he was going to cut me up through the middle. That's how it was scripted.
Oh.
And when they saw me, and it was probably Frank, because Frank was the,
Paramount guy.
the patriarch there, He like, this is not going to get past the ratings board. And it was a last minute decision. Like, we're not going to shoot it. It wasn't even, they weren't going to screw around. Because again, this is low budget. So it's not like, well, let's see if we can shoot it. Maybe we'll just angle it differently so it's not quite as, he was like, no, that's not going to, it's not going to fly. Of course, today it would be very different. I'm sure it'd be considered tame.
Yeah,
So
terrifying.
that was the last minute decision, because a lot of people are like, where's the lost footage? I'm like, there is no lost footage.
Never
All
shot
it
it.
is a Polaroid from me in the makeup chair. So that was it. But yes, so they were ready to shoot that. And they probably had some like legs or something floating around the prop truck that they were going to use.
Right. Oh, wow.
Well, there's nothing us Friday the 13th fans crave more than like deleted snippets of kill scenes from
Right.
back in the day.
Right,
'cause-
yeah, and if there wasn't, not a scene to be had.
Wow, that must be one of probably the only kills throughout the Paramount 80s Friday era that didn't get snipped and snipped and snipped down by the MPAA.
Yeah.
Because every director's just like, oh, the 17th time we resubmitted it, they finally gave us an R rating.
Okay.
So I know I can understand why Frank would be concerned about that. Was there anything otherwise deleted scene-wise that you remember shooting that just got cut entirely from the movie, or pretty much everything that was shot wound up in the film?
That scene where you come in and dance with me, like, remember when we did that?
Oh, did we? Oh, I was going to say, wow. Now, there was a scene where I was running through the rain and I fell when I was, bam, bam, and I fell. I really fell. I like literally fell. I was so embarrassed, but I just got back up and kept running, and they kept it in the scene. The other memorable moment was at the end in the hospital, and I was supposed to have been asleep or something. Pam had me on her lap, and after we just went through this whole thing with the fake Jason, and I was just, for some reason, they were trying to get a little close-up shot of me, like just sleeping, and I was like, my eyes were, because the lights and everything, and I was just, my eyes were just, and they were like, you're sleeping, and I was like, okay, and cut, because I was just because of all the excitement of everything. And 14, you got probably 100 people around you and stuff, and I just couldn't relax. It was just like, you know how you see a movie or something where it's like somebody's supposed to be playing dead? You have some good actors that can do it, but then if you really look closely, like maybe some of them old Twilight Zones or something, and you just see, it's just like they're still, it's like, keep it still. I couldn't do it. So they literally had to do like an overhead. If you'll notice, if you see it again, at the end, it's like this overhead shot of me, and Pam is holding me, and it's just way over here, and that's because the shot, you can't see me blinking, like moving and stuff. So that one scene where I'm sleeping, she's, so that's how that works.
Yeah, I got to give a shout out on that to any time you see like an actor who is asleep or dead, eyes open, eyes closed. That is really hard to do, because like, I mean, even if you're not excited, like I just recently did one where I had to be dead, and I mean, and he's like, yeah, and you can keep your eyes closed. And again, with the lights, it's like getting your body to relax. And it's like, I watch a lot of movies and series, and I'm always like, I'll just study them. I'm like, okay, so are they freezing the camera?
Right.
Like, I wonder, because there's some scenes where you see an actor and they'll like keep their eyes open. And again, you got lights on you too, so it's very drying to the eyes. I'm like, how are they not blinking for like a minute? I'm like, are they freezing the scene? Or again, when they're asleep and there's no flutter, because it's really hard to do.
Is hard to
Try
do.
it sometimes.
Yeah.
So when you're watching, check it out, because it's really one of those little things that you take for granted. And it's,
I used to look at the stomach,
Props to them.
the stomach as a kid. Just
Anything,
remember,
like-
you see if they're breathing.
or seeing if there's any like little pulse in their neck. I like totally watch. I mean, and not that it even matters, but
Right,
it's I'm really impressed when I'm like, I see complete
Wow,
stillness.
yeah,
I'm just like, damn, going deep.
Yeah, right.
That's a meditation, I guess,
yeah, you got
right?
Yeah, right. That's true.
You can help us with that one.
Yeah.
So I do want to give the audience one more chance to jump in, guys. Okay. Well, one thing I've loved about this movie for a long time, and especially appreciate it in more recent years, is it seems to this is one of those rare films that is sort of aging like wine, I think. And literally the more time that passes, the more people seem to be like, oh yeah, and apologies for calling it part 5, but people are like, part 5 is great. And I think Tarantino even came out at one point and was like, part 5 is my favorite one.
I heard about that.
Yes, right?
I heard about that.
Hire me too, Quinn. So I was curious if you've had any experience with that, or realizing that, like, oh my gosh, this film is actually more beloved now than it was in the heyday. Any experiences with that?
Well, this is it. I mean,
is
it's these conventions. I mean, the horror subculture is amazing. Even more amazing to me is the range of people. So it's not just like folks as old as myself. We got a lot of youngsters in here too, and it's really amazing. I mean, didn't see that coming.
Right.
So yeah, and I have heard that about Quentin, and I'm like, he needs to hire me. Like, I'm like, how do I get in touch with him? I'm like, it's me. I'm hire me.
Hire them both, Quentin.
Yeah, right. So, but I have heard that multiple times. So it's cool. I mean, again, and you guys are the proof of it.
Right, yeah. And what fascinates me is that this film was 38 years ago. And I've done a few of these, and little 7-year-olds are coming up. I'm like, wait a minute, you little one. You weren't even around. And, so it's a generational thing. Some of us love it, and we share it with our kids. Someone said, my grandma made me watch you, little black kid, because you survived. And stuff like that makes you feel good. My thing is that if it puts a smile on your face, if it gets you through the day, sometimes we have that 9 to 5, and we need to get that escape. And even if it just makes you feel good and makes you happy and you enjoy your life, that's what the entertainment industry is about. Because it's so serious. A lot of stuff is serious stuff going on. And now we have all kinds of stations, channels. It was only 3 networks when I was working. And then Married with Children with Fox started coming. Now you guys, which one do I watch on demand and different things? So I think, I'm not sure. Hopefully the Screen Actors Guild and the writers they'll get together and resolve that. But you will find out.
So before we wrap it up, have to ask, provided that the strike, becomes resolved and the actors and writers are taken care of the way they deserve to be, what would your hopes be for the future of the Friday the 13th franchise? What would you like to see in a movie that you haven't seen yet?
You want to start with that? I'm like,
so how many Friday the 13th? Is like 11?
It's 11 or 12, depending on how you...
Series.
Then they have the series. I heard about a video game. Some people contacted me and said, we're trying to get Reggie the Reckless in the PS5 or something like that.
You didn't do it?
Yeah, and so, then I've heard of people saying, I love the series, the franchise, but, they jumped the shark when he went to space. Something about Jason did he go to space?
He did go to space.
Oh, he did. I haven't seen that yet. So what else could they do?
Yeah, well, space is where franchises go to die. Jason is
it's
the
like
most
the Fonz.
unkillable. Yeah.
Remember the Fonz?
Jumping the shark, yeah.
So I don't know, what else could they do? I mean, I'm all for it.
Jason is surfing and he jumps over a space shark.
Yeah.
Well, they got the prequel. I mean, the series that's coming out on Peacock is a prequel.
It is
really?
a prequel.
Oh,
Yeah.
really?
Yeah.
Oh, there you go.
Oh,
So
yeah,
is
and
it
I tried to message the producer on that one, too. I'm like, hey, I'm here.
Yeah. And I think on one crickets. I think one video we did an audio commentary. That was fun. Some years back, John Shepard and Danny Steinman and we did the whole audio You know how you watch the whole film and you get to talk. I love that. I've never did any one of those things before, and just to talk about the whole thing. And I think on that particular DVD of the film, they had Reggie the Reckless's cousins or something at the end of it's like they were just taking it to a whole nother level. And I just thought that was just great. That's just cool. So sometimes I'll have people sending me pictures and Halloween, people of all races just in the red suit, for Halloween. And I'm like, wow. Even my company, we've had T-shirts, with the Reckless T-shirts. We started that, and posters and stuff. So it's helped us too, you know, to kind of have a little income coming in like this. I'm thankful to be here too. So, you know, it's just something to be thankful for, that people can still come and say, you know, hey, I remember you, man, when you were a little kid, you know. So I just wanted to thank you. Thank you for being here. No, I'm serious. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for coming, and thank you for supporting us.
Well,
thank you.
Well, I know I am incredibly thankful, as is everyone in this room, of you guys for taking the time and answering our questions and telling such great stories. So guys, show them how thankful you are by coming to their table, getting some pictures, getting some autographs. I know they have a lot more stories to tell you. And make some noise one more time for the incredible cast. Friday the 13th Live.
This is Ray Santiago, and you're watching Fandom Spotlight. Please watch, like, and subscribe, or else we'll find you and you'll die.